Hey everyone, I want to welcome you back to Fika with Jonas.
And I would say thank you for everybody for watching our first episode, and we had a lot of interest in it. So here we are on episode 2.
It's amazing the response that we got from Fika with Jonas.
It really is, Cody. I mean, I was surprised with how much we have of it, how many people it was interested. So we're going to go back to the basics a little today and start from the beginning.
Yep, I agree with that. So speaking with the basics, you were a groom for how many years before you became a second trainer?
I was a groom for 4 years, and then I was a second trainer for about 10 years, and then I started my own business.
Amazing. And when was the last time that you harnessed a horse, by the way?
It was actually just a couple of minutes ago, Cody. So
Oh, wow.
I'm put a harness on Brooklyn here, and hopefully we can show you guys all what we did. So here we are getting started. I mean, since he likes to roll and get muddy in the paddock before he goes on the track, so we have to clean him up and brush him up and get him ready to hit the track. And as you can see, I have to chase him around in the stall because he don't like to stand still either. So, and here I am braiding, which I'm not that good at. So that's usually the girls that does that, because if I do it, they take it off again and saying that doesn't look good enough. So today I get to do it, and I probably get yelled at for it. And here we are putting earplugs in him since he likes to feel a little frisky out there. So it's better to just put some earplugs in to keep him a little calmer when they're out jogging and getting their daily exercise. And here we go, getting started to harness him up, and he's a little excited to go, so he just won't stand still. And here we go. I like to loosen the crupper up, and then just slide the harness back a little to get it where I like it to sit. And here we go, putting the Buxton on him, and slowly getting ready to go out and go for his daily exercise. Here we are, tightening up the crupper,
Getting everything situated.
And get his stud support on. I like to jog my horses with stud supports on, and they train races with them too. And here we go, putting the race halter on him. So we jog everything with race halters. We start the babies out with just jogging with a stall halter underneath the bridle, and then as they get further into training, we take that off and just have race halters on all of the babies too. And here we are putting on the polo bandages on him. I like to jog my horses in polos, so in case they jump around or get silly out there for anything, they don't hit themselves, and kind of protect their legs a little when we're out jogging.
So tell us a couple things about Brooklyn here.
So he's one of my Hambo hopefuls for this year. So he has 10 starts last year. 8 of those was in the top 3, and put in a really good race there at the end of last year in the International Stallion when he won in 53-1 at the Red Mile. So I was pretty pleased with that, and then we decided on putting him away after that to get him fresh for his 3-year-old year. So that's what we're doing there. And then I actually also have Sliding Home that we're kind of aiming for the same race as Brooklyn here, and he made 236,000 last year. One of the biggest thing for him last year, he finished 3rd in the Breeders' Crown, where we raced really good actually. So we got some big hopes for those 2 colts.
Nice, very nice.
So, and here we are getting the bridle on Brooklyn to go jogging, and he wears a open happy bridle, so with no overcheck on, because I like to jog all my older horses without overchecks, and babies start out with a blind bridle and overchecks on, and as we get further into it, like usually here in February, we start taking overchecks off to jog the babies too, and kind of let them relax and get their head down and keep them a little happier out there, that we don't need to have them checked up the whole time.
Awesome.
So here we got Caroline taking over to get him outside so we can get him hooked up and go jogging.
Very nice, very nice. And about how many horses does each groom take care of?
So most of them takes care of 4 horses. I got a couple of the girls that have been with me for a while that take care of 5 in the winter, and then as we start racing, they go down on 4 too because they just don't have enough time to to do 5 when we get really busy with everything. So
starting to go full time once the season starts.
So here we are out on the sand track at Winners. It's out in the woods and kind of deep sand, nice and soft out there. So it's a good place to keep them legged up and keep them off the main track, so they're kind of staying happy and enjoying to be out for a jog instead of just pushing them around on the track every day.
So what would you say the main difference, obviously other than materials, but the main difference between a sand track and a regular clay track? Or
so the sand track is, I mean, it's a little deeper, softer on them, easier on joints and everything, and especially like with our sand track here, it's out in the woods and there's no turns and no straightaways. It kind of goes more like a little jog path through the woods, so they're like, horses are staying more relaxed and happier about being out there, and just like you see, he likes to play around and everything. So it's a bit of a much better environment for them than to just be on the racetrack. Or that's what I think, at least. So.
Yeah, it's more enjoyable for the horse. Now, what length track is this here at Winners?
So we got a 5/8 training track, and then the sand track is half a mile or 800 meters.
Okay. And what is it like to be behind Hambo Hopeful?
I mean, it's a thrill just having any horses hitting for the Hambo, but I mean it's also a thrill just sitting behind any horse. I mean, when you work with what you love to do, I mean it's just a thrill being out there, just being with these animals every day.
So we got some great questions this month from the viewers, and one of the more popular questions was in regards to bits. So how do you choose which horse will wear what kind of bit?
So I mean, we start everybody out in a snaffle, and then we kind of, if it feels like they don't get along with the snaffle, we kind of go from there to try out different things. Like for instance, Hotshot Blue Chip, he wore a Houghton, and I mean we tried him in a snaffle many times, but he responded the best to wearing a Houghton when he raced, so that's what he had on. Maven, she just wore a snaffle. So I mean, like, it's a little bit from horse to horse and everything, and then like if we have one that grabs on, then we like to try to put a crescendo on them, and if that doesn't work, try a mini bit. So I mean, there's just many different ways we try out to see which. I mean, I usually just try a different bit to see which one works and kind of go from there.
Yeah, you have a good variety.
Yeah, so we try out until we get what feels the best, so to say.
Okay. And how do you use a bit to fix a problem?
So I'm trying not to, because then you're kind of just covering the problem and not getting to where the problem's coming from, why they're hanging on a line or anything. But I mean, sometimes we put like an Italian sideline bit on and try it that way to help them out, and then as we're still trying to fix where the problem comes from, so to say.
Okay. Now, an overcheck can be a bit.
I use, like, most of the time just a straight overcheck bit, but I mean, some horses just don't like to have an overcheck bit in their mouth, so we go with a shin chain or a shin strap. So, like, for instance, Maven, she wore a shin strap because she was fighting it when she had a overcheck bit in her mouth, so that worked out better for her. And some horses just needs a little more level, so then put a C-guard on them or anything to get their head up and out a little bit more. So I mean, there's a few different ways you can go there.
Okay. How high do you like to have their heads?
So I mean, we start out with a fairly long overcheck when we break them and get started and everything, and then as we train down and start going faster, and I mean, if they feel like they need a little more support from the overcheck, we take them up, or if they're interfering or anything like that, we just pull their head up a little bit at a time. And I'm kind of a freak on that, so I like to do it myself, so I know exactly where everybody's heads are and everything. So it's it's something that we just don't go out and just start changing over
Yeah.
checks how high they are or anything. So I mean, I'm pretty strict on my grooms that not to touch any over checks unless I told them to do anything with it.
Yeah. Why is it so unusual to have a North American trotter without an overcheck when you see a lot of horses in Europe without them overall?
So I think that what people look at that is, I mean, most of the horses that they see over here from Europe are older horses. I mean, they're kind of more set, and I mean, they're 8, 9, 10-year-olds. So I mean, they've been kind of trained down and going without the overchecks. And I mean, you do see horses over here too, the races without overchecks. So I mean, it happens over here too.
Now, do you use all the same equipment on a baby as you would on an older horse, or do you add it or subtract it?
So I start out all my babies with the same, like they wear a snaffle and a straight overcheck bit and polo bandages behind, and that's kind of our start out for them. And then as we go along, I mean, if somebody needs brace bandages instead, we switch out the polos, or if somebody needs shin boots, we put the shin boots on. So I mean, we start them all out the same, and then we kind of add or take away from there.
Now, when it comes to trotting hobbles and how they're always a hot topic these days, do you prefer them to use it or not to use it?
I mean, I don't like trotting hobbles, but trotting hobbles do help some horses. So I mean, if your horse need them, I mean, trotting hobbles is not a fix of a lameness problem or anything. I mean, it's you have one that needs a little more support. That's just kind of keep them in the rhythm. So I mean, some horses just need it, and then you just have to put them on.
Okay. Now, how do you use or utilize a pressure cart?
So I put pretty much all my 3-year-olds and all my older horses are in the pressure cart the whole winter. Like we start them out walking about 45 minutes for the first couple of weeks, and then up them to an hour. So they just walk for an hour a day, and some of them could be going out twice a day or be out for an hour and a half. So I mean, they walk a lot, and they pull a lot of weight with it. So I mean, they're definitely getting a workout from it.
That they are. So we had some great questions in regards to trainers having multiple barns and in several locations, and you only having one stable at Winners. Would you say you would consider having multiple barns, or possibly interested in having control, or do you like having control at your fingertips?
No, I like to have the control at my fingertips, actually. I mean, I like to be right there, see all my horses about every day. So I mean, I know exactly what's going on, and I like to sit behind all my horses a couple of times a week to just knowing exactly what's going on. I mean, it's easy for somebody else to tell you what they're doing, but it's a different thing to sit behind them yourself. But that's, for me at least, I mean, like for me, I probably would not be very good at having horses at different places. So we like to keep everything in one place.
Yeah. So Kathy had a very specific question in regards to her 8-year-old mare. She feels like she's not quite grabbing the bit, but she races great when she finally shakes loose in the stretch. Any advice?
For that question, Kathy, I'm probably going to need a little more information on her, because it's tough to sit there and kind of give you the answers to, or what I think you should do with her. So if you would email me at info@teamjc.net, I can try to help you out and see what I think we can do.
So we had a lot of questions about shoeing, Jonas, and you'll be covering that in episode 3, I think.
So yeah, that's the whole episode 3 should be about shoeing and what shoes, what horse, and everything like that, and barefoot and not barefoot. So I mean, would all be covered in episode 3.
Sounds great, Jonas. We definitely look forward to that episode. But overall, we just want to thank you very much for tuning in to this second episode of Fika with Jonas. And please, if you have any comments or questions, go to our Facebook page or Twitter at Team JC Stable and give us a holler.
Thank you, and thanks for watching.